So I'm about to coin some terms here. There's a few different ways that we could go about service position. The most common way, the easiest way to go about this thing is what we're going to coin the tailgate. We're just going to take this core support and we're going to remove it enough to where we can tilt it forward. And we're going to keep most everything connected. We could take a few things apart. Mainly, we could take this coolant line off, but and I prepped it for taking the coolant line off so I can show you. I went ahead and sucked the coolant bottle as dry as I possibly could get it, and I've did that with my fluid extractor. So I've got my clamp on my upper radiator hose, so I don't have to worry about more coolant coming out the top right there. We're definitely going to want to take this loose because we don't want to pull this plastic line tight and break it. So we're prepping for the third type. Let me just continue here. So we got the tailgate. The second one will be called the oscillate. So we're going to keep the AC charged in the second style. So that would be, we're going to remove these hard lines for the transmission right here, and then we're going to swing this whole thing over to the side because these AC condenser lines right here are flexible. And we got another one up here with a flex hose. And we can keep all this in one piece. The third way, let's say 2.5. 2.5 is, you can take this condenser loose and then evacuate the rest of it. But the third style is the evacuate method, where you just take the whole front clip off and move it to the side. For that, you're going to need something like this, an AC machine, to properly evacuate your Freon and then recharge it when you're finished. So, going back to the first and most common will be the tailgate, the second will be the oscillate, and then the third will be the evacuate. We're going to demonstrate number one first. To do that, let me finish this up. I checked the oil bottle. We'll try to recover one more time just for good measure. And there's a couple T30s down here on these metal bars. See that bar right there? And then there's another metal bar right there. At the very front of those is a single T30 each. Let's go ahead and get some of this wiring loose. And for that, let's just take a moment here to look at the magnificence of this Audi. Do you see how they spent all this time with all these flaps to ergonomically and aerodynamically funnel the wind into your coolers? So go ahead and take the time to not yank, pull, break, and damage the panels. Now, the airbag connector here, we definitely don't want to turn the ignition when we have these off. Otherwise, we have to hook a fancy scan tool up to it and reset it. Something that can read the airbag body module. We have some more wirings over here. Says it's complete. We'll go ahead and just pull a vacuum on it. No, we don't want to change the oil. I've already done that. We'll only pull 10 minutes of vacuum. Leak test, no, this thing's perfect. We're just pulling a vacuum to dry the lines a bit, just because we can. Just to make more noise in the video. Now this one's a little bit tricky. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tighten it past factory spec just to make you cringe. Just peeling it back. Peeling back the wiring. Listening to the vacuum of my AC machine. Gonna try a different panel tool this time. Still works amazing. Gonna disconnect the airbag connector. Got all the wiring loose. Was that completely necessary for tailgate? No, not really. I probably could have got by, but you also could have stretched some wires, so some tailgate guys just like to rip the gate down. This is another thing you're probably going to want to do. You could probably move it a little bit without doing this, but I mean, come on now. First is this right here. We're going to move this back, so we want to not pull this wire for the hood latch. And then we've got, well, I never even got this one loose, huh? Nipex are very useful. Almost every use Nipex are useful. So look at that. Just pulled up that clip, give it a nice little wiggle and tug, push the clip back into place. We're golden. Now what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to do this hood latch mechanism, because everyone messes it up. First we're going to take off the metal bracketry, just like so. See that? I'm going to put it in a safe place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to give it a nice little pull and then open it up and then disconnect it. There we are. That easy. Now what we can do is we can take these bolts loose in the front here with this. This is the actual bumper. The bumper cover is what we took off right there. This right here is the bumper support, or the bumper itself, actually. So let's just go for it. Now we have some T30s on the side and on the top. Now we're fixing to barn door it. See that? See all that room you got for activities? Now if I wanted to, with this clipped, I could take this loose and I would lose minimal coolant, especially since I already drained the bottle that much. Let's take a look at some of this damage. I've got it off this much. Wiring's all jacked up and torn. Oh man, look at that. Bare wires hanging. That's my wiring harness. That is a disaster. That's part of the belt. Okay, let's get this thing all the way out of the way. So it's time to get out the old flat pan and drain some of this coolant. Hopefully I could mitigate some of the coolant loss by clanking that bottom hose. And it also kind of helps me grip it. I accidentally hit the button there. I usually just pop it out a little bit. They're stuck on there. These hoses. Really stuck. Really stuck. We'll hit it with some penetrating. We'll penetrate it. We'll get the WD-40. Get out the old Easy Reach. And it's still tricky to get up in there. You can't really get where I need to get. But that should probably creep in there. Oh yeah. That's what it takes. See, it wasn't even that much in there. Now if I were to unclip this right here, just a little bit more comes out. And I shouldn't have done that. Oh well. Let's go ahead and get this top coolant line off. Let's go ahead and pre-soak it. I'm getting in here with my pick, like so. Just pull it up a little bit, and then come on. Sometimes when it's that stuck, I don't really advise brute force and just yanking it up and down a lot, because that could stress the plastic. In this case, I say, or you could get out the old extension with socket on the end, and you could fish it back in here on the corner right there and give it some love taps. Unfortunately, I need both hands. And that's all it took. I just gave it some love taps in that right rear corner. There's a couple 10mm bolts here on these transmission cooler lines. One of them's up top here. And then the other one where is that other one? We're gonna have to get to it from down here. And hopefully I can find all these bolts, but I'm not able to get everything with one hand. Coming around under here, of course, we still have these intake pipes. We've got our cooling fan wiring, and we can just come over here and pull it out from the side. See this clip, pull it, and then get it loose. Now let's see if we can get to this 10mm right there. Go ahead and catch this transmission fluid as well. It's going to take some coercion. I could probably get it if I wanted to, but I'm going to get it off camera with both hands. I took it off a little bit silly because I tilted it first, and my intentions are to evacuate the whole entire thing. But I've got some extensions in there. That side I have a screwdriver, but I prefer to throw extensions in there to hold it into place if you don't have the actual bolts. And now you just simply loosen your 7mm clamp. I had this in here and just started to get to work, and I'm like, I can't do stuff without filming. So now I just hit a little bit of lube in there, and then that works its way around the whole hose. Work this pick around. Probably never come off. I don't know, it was on there pretty good. Everything on here has been fighting me. We got a similar hose on this other side, and then we have to get those AC lines loose. So I'm gonna just go right here. I'm gonna sneak underneath here. You know what? Yeah, I still want to get it loose right there. We could get that other clamp as well, but come on now. And then I take the curved pick right up in here. Just get it started. There we go. Roll it around and pull it off. All right, now we've got this AC line right here, and then this other one we could get loose at the compressor, or we could get it loose right here at the condenser. These have been known to snap off before. And then give it a nice little wiggle and pull. There was a vacuum pulled on it. So that's what that was. Tuck that away. Right now would be a good time to go get my cap plugs, but I'm gonna put this thing back together right away. And now for this other line, I'm either gonna get it loose right down there at the bottom of the condenser, or I'm gonna try to get it loose right up here and just snake it out. So for up here, I'm gonna grab it right here, give it some wiggles, and then maybe even grab a straight pick and try to stick it in there, maybe. Now, you know how much of a horrible idea this is? It slips and then goes through the condenser. Don't do stuff like that. And even something like this could still do the same thing and slip and go through the condenser. The only thing we can really do is try to spray something on it and then try to work that in there. And then pay mind to how you're twisting and pulling and just try to pull it off even. That's not in the frame. There was a vacuum on it, so this one would have been even more difficult. So in this instance, I really am going to try to use this pry tool. But first, I'm gonna put this screw back in. And I'm gonna give it some love taps. And now hopefully there's enough room to snake that guy out. I just had to grab that with both hands and it pulled straight out that socket. No big deal. Now it's time to just yank this entire thing out of the way. And am I gonna be able to do that and hold the phone at the same time? It's just being held in by those extensions. I'm going to move this pan back. I'm gonna go ahead and just unclip this so it's out of my way. This is just another little air dam. And make sure that everything is clear. And here we go. Oh, come loose. All right, I gotta drop the phone, unfortunately, because that bar down there was giving me a fit. I could take them all the way out, but I normally just let them hang right there. Now I just gotta pick this whole thing up and move it to the side. Everything is disconnected. I just randomly turned my phone on